Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inside Games, the second episode.
Man, we're only 2 episodes in, and we're already talking about things that have nothing to do with video games. Ooh, stocks.
Stocks, baby. Well, but you know, GameStop, that's a video game thing. We just couldn't wait to be real video game journalism, so look forward to stories about Elon Musk and the MCU character rankings. That's down the road. That's down the road.
Good idea for an electric jet.
You do?
Yeah.
Then we'll make it work.
Also, Lawrence, who could resist a tasty story about a lawsuit?
I know, this one ends in a lawsuit like every good story in America does, but I mean, GameStop, the whole thing, it's a little more than that. It's a grand statement of class solidarity with lower income people lashing out against the upper class, making a statement about wealth inequality in the United States.
Also, people just really want to buy up all those copies of Battletoads.
I mean, it's about memes too. This is meme culture, like really emerging and pushing things in the world around. There's a lot of stuff, and it's a fairly lengthy story, so we should get into it.
Everything in history is a long string of connected events, so it's kind of tough to pick a spot to start for this specific series of events. GameStop has been in a complicated and really not great business position for years now.
Back in August 2019 is a good place to start. That's when investor Michael Burry, that's one of the central characters of The Big Short, revealed a substantial investment in the retailer to the tune of 3 million shares, or 3.3% of GameStop's common stock.
I mean, he's a character of The Big Short, but also a real guy who's a very, very smart investor. This is really important because the acquisition of all the stock specifically calls on GameStop to repurchase more of its own stock, specifically calling out the fact that an alarming amount of GameStop stocks are shorted. The best way to think of a short is it's a bunch of people, and this is the wrong word, but I'm going to say it anyways, a bunch of people betting on the fact that the price of GameStop stock is going to go down. That's what a short is. And as long as it keeps going down, they're going to make money.
So that acquisition in 2019, it didn't exactly predict what was going to happen. It more just identified that GameStop's publicly owned stocks were not in the best position and that the company could shore itself up and be a little more firm going into the future if it didn't have as much stock rolling around in the market that was shorted by hedge funds and things like that.
So the next month, in September of 2019, a Reddit user going by the name Deep Fucking Value, who is central to this story, starts posting monthly investment updates of their January 15th, 2021 $8 call options in /r/Wall Street bets, which is also central to our story.
Hey Bruce, what the heck is a call option? Could you explain that to me, please?
Well, the first thing I'm going to explain to you is a stock option, because a call option is different from just a normal option. So stock option gives an investor the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell a stock at an agreed upon price and date. So it's like a contract that you sign saying, I will buy the stock if it gets to this specific price. Basically, Deep Fucking Value was saying, I think in January 15th of 2021, that this stock will rise to $8. That's what an $8 call option is.
So this investor has call options. They're basically kind of through this investment sending out the message that maybe you should be paying attention to GameStop stock, and specifically that it has the potential to grow to then the unheard of amount of $8, because I think it was trading around $3 or $4 at the time. Interestingly, that first post even calls out Burry, thanking him for the small lift in GameStop stock price resulting from the investment.
Yeah, everything kind of seems normal here so far. Just an investor with a history and some dude on Reddit following along. Now it's going to pick up.
So on July 13th, 2020, Keith Gill streams to the YouTube channel Roaring Kitty for the first time.
Maybe there's gonna be no one even tuning in, so this is silly but we'll just see how it goes.
On July 19th, Gill posts a teaser trailer for the YouTube channel to multiple subreddits under the Reddit named The Roaring Kitty.
Yeah, most of these posts are removed, and according to Gill, the spam got him permabanned from r/investing and r/stocks. So he's not off to a really good start here.
Nearly immediately, Roaring Kitty's commentary and analysis streams are uniquely focused on GameStop. The first such stream occurred on July 27th, 2020, and has been about practically nothing else since.
Yeah, there's a ton.
There's so many.
There's a lot. It's pretty clear that Roaring Kitty / Deep Fucking Value on Reddit kind of feeling the magic of GameStop and this weird stock, how there's something like coalescing around it. And he's still posting monthly updates and now doing extended streams about the GameStop stock, which is weird.
Roaring Kitty himself notes that GameStop could be the target of a short squeeze on August 4th.
Yo, what up? The GameStop thesis is super simple, but it's often misunderstood.
On August 21st, Roaring Kitty posts a shockingly dense 5-minute analysis of how GameStop market position is way better than its stock price would indicate. So really getting on that megaphone and telling people that there's investment opportunity here, which from Roaring Kitty's analysis is pretty genuine and coming from places of pretty decent data.
Various users on investing subreddits are starting to see the signs of all this stuff, interesting stuff happening at the end of 2020. August 25th, Fez's Fez posted a thread titled, "Get ready for a GME short squeeze," noting that 99.7% of shares are short on GameStop, and that a decent sized catalyst could send the stock flying. So that's bad when 100% of the stock is shorted, meaning everybody's betting it's going to go down.
So that catalyst landed almost a week later, with RC Ventures acquiring a 9% stake in GameStop on August 31st, 2020.
Quote, RC Ventures is managed by Ryan Cohen, co-founder and former CEO of e-commerce company Chewy, which was acquired by PetSmart in 2017 for $3.35 billion.
That's a substantial vouch from a successful investor. That's the exact sort of thing that leads to a stock rally.
Naturally, Roaring Kitty is over the moon with this news, cheerleading Cohen in a Reddit comment that also got removed, presumably for being a teensy bit fanboyish and self-promoting, probably. Yeah.
So that investment is kind of when the plane starts to get off the ground a little bit. GameStop stock slowly starts to rise in value. On August 27th, prior to the investment announcement, GME traded at $5.25. By September 22nd, about a month later, the price had risen to $10.56, almost doubling in value in less than a month.
Growth like that indicated that a lot of these predictions of runaway growth and the possibility of a short squeeze were 100% right on track.
By the end of October, GameStop stock traded as high as $15 a share. The trading started to shape up into a movement on investment subreddits as well, with threads like GME Gang Listen Up, referring to GameStop investors as a crew of people acting with organized intent.
Yeah, so far we've got simmering potential and some loose memes starting to form, but nothing real big yet.
Yeah, as the year goes on, GameStop stock value continues to creep up. By the end of December, GameStop is trading between $18 and $20 a share, and investors on the Wall Street Bets sub are warning each other that a squeeze could be coming very, very soon.
Now we come to the big spark that set everything off.
On January 11th, 2021, GameStop announced that they've added 3 new members to the company's board of directors: Alan Attal, Jim Grube, and Ryan Cohen, the aforementioned investor that led Chewy to be acquired for a bazillion dollars.
So given that many internet investors were already looking at GameStop stock from all the weird hiccups leading to this, the response was huge. From January 12th to January 13th, in one day of trading, GameStop's value grew from $19.95 a share to $31.40 a share. That's 57% growth in a single day.
Media noticed all this activity and I'm going to say fairly accurately called out that this growth was not really organic. Motley Fool reported that the gains, quote, won't last.
That's right. The article points to 3 factors for the jump: GameStop's moderate growth in sales, because really the sales never went up, the appointing of Cohen to the board, which was good, and the growing signs of a short squeeze.
So at some point, and it's really difficult to pin this down, and I tried. I poked through a lot of subreddit or Reddit threads, but you know, these things kind of come up out of the earth sometimes. A certain narrative emerged with the investors on, you know, all the various investing subreddits. Out of all the investment firms involved with shorting GameStop stock, and nearly all of them were, the GME gang singled out Melvin Capital as the embodiment of the class divide and the frustrations they've been experiencing in quarantine, and decided to put the screws to them by inflating the price of GameStop's stock. The Motley Fool described it as this, quote, "As the stock rallied, losses piled up for investors who had shorted it. Some may have been forced to put up more capital or cover their positions by buying the stock. The rush of short sellers buying GameStop stock drove it even higher, forcing other short sellers to cover their positions. Rinse and repeat. You've got a runaway scenario."
That's right. It's really bad. So GameStop stock held around the $30 range until January 22nd, when it leaped again to $65 a share. That's over a 100% increase in the share value, I think in one day.
But that's not even the craziest. It got even more bananas from there.
I mean, well, GameStop must have announced a corporate restructure, right? Or some incredible new business alliance to revitalize the brand.
No. Elon Musk tweeted the word "game stonk!" exclamation point with a link to the Wall Street's Bet subreddit, and the entire world melted.
GameStop closed trading on January 25th with a value of $76.79. On January 27th, 2 days later, GameStop stock closes at a value of $347.51. Absolutely insane. We're talking, was that 2,000, 3,000% increase in 4 days? That kind of stuff does not happen on the stock market ever.
On January 27, 2021, GameStop and AMC trading became restricted by TD Ameritrade, Schwab, Robinhood, and basically every other way that commoners and peasants can buy stock. Quote, "In the interest of mitigating risk for our company and clients, we have put in place several restrictions on some transactions in GME, AMC, and other securities," a spokeswoman for TD Ameritrade told MarketWatch. "We make these decisions out of an abundance of caution amid unprecedented market conditions and other factors." It's very easy to like point at this vague cloud of evil money and say, there must have been some old dude with big sunglasses and a cigar who kicked down Robin Hood's door and said, you got to stop these commoners from making that money. And because he's the holder of all money, he's James T. Money, you got to listen to what he says. I don't know. Do you see more market craft and maybe like an actual desire to protect the market and investors in there? Or is it purely rich people were losing money and we got to shut that down?
This is either one of two things. Number one, it's James T. Money kicking down the door being like, we're billionaires and we're not going to let you, Or number two, Robinhood should have just been like, if you're going to take on a customer base of however many, let's say, 20, 30 million retail investors. If you're going to take on that large of a customer base, have the fucking money to cover all the trades. Like, that's on you. That's a bad business. Robinhood has ties to Citadel, which basically Citadel is the one that they do a lot of their trades. Robinhood does their trades through. I don't know if you know, but Robinhood makes money off of trades by selling the trade data. That's how they make it so the trades are free. They sell the trade data. It's basically like selling your data, but it's for trades. And Citadel is the one that handles a lot of their trades. Well, guess what? Melvin Capital and Citadel are definitely in bed. They've been doing business for years. And I believe, this is just off the top of my head, so I may be a little wrong about this, but I believe Citadel bailed out Melvin Capital during this whole thing. Because Melvin Capital was losing a fuck ton of money and Citadel was like, sure, we'll help you out. And at the same time, Citadel's calling Robinhood saying, stop trades. So all of this just reeks of a bunch of people being like, wait a minute, we're billionaires. We can't lose our money.
Internet darling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted about it from the Fiery Scepter of her Twitter app. Tweeted, this is unacceptable, and I think we both agree. We now need to know more about Robinhood's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock while hedge funds are freely able to trade the stock as they see fit. And then just a day later, on January 28th, we got us a good old-fashioned class action lawsuit. Brandon Nelson filed a class action complaint against Robinhood Financial, Robinhood Securities, and Robinhood Markets. By February 2nd, because of the market limitations put in place and presumably people executing their exit strategy, such as they had, GameStop stock fell to $90, which is silly considering that's already exponentially higher than it started. And a class action against Robinhood is not the last step in this, nor do I think we're quite done with it yet. There's one more lawsuit against our good friend, Roaring Kitty, aka Deep Fucking Value, a Washington State resident and investor, claimed they suffered, quote, substantial financial losses when they used $200,000 to speculate on GameStop's price, and are accusing Keith Gill, aka Deep Fucking Value, aka Roaring Kitty, of being a shrewd investor that intentionally manipulated the market and drove them to mislead people into investing in this stock. It's unfortunate, but hey, it's America. If you make a lot of money and your name's public, somebody's going to come after you. I don't know, Bruce, what do you think about this lawsuit to Roaring Kitty?
Yeah, so there's a difference between these two lawsuits, the class action against Robinhood and the class action against Deep Fucking Value. So the class action against Robinhood, in my opinion, definitely has some merit because, again, the only thing you could do with that stock was sell it. And that is market manipulation of the highest order, especially if you've got a customer base as large as Robinhood. So if Robinhood then turns around and says, oh wait, no, now you can only sell it. That's fucking ridiculous. That's insane. Now the lawsuit against Deep Fucking Value, in my opinion, this is more of a buyer beware thing. The reason I say that is because there are lots of other people out there making, having investment advice, Twitch channels and YouTube channels about which stock you should buy and when and how and all that other stuff. Now, just because you lost money, that's on you. That's a buyer beware thing. Just like if you're going to pre-order a video game, and the video game is not what you wanted it to be, that's on you. And that's why I don't necessarily think that he should be getting sued for this. I don't even necessarily see him as the leader of this. To me, he was 100% a figurehead, but Wall Street Bets in general was like a hive mind. It all was like, it was like a big swirling black cloud of people that were all doing the same thing at the same time because they could. Now, it wasn't just Deep Fucking Value getting there, posting a subreddit thread being like, I think we should all buy this stock now. It wasn't that at all. He was just another one who's out there giving advice.
We collectively as people, and then certainly media and stuff, likes to find figureheads and leaders and kind of pin movements on people. It makes it easier to parse. But in this case, yeah, it seems like Roaring Kitty just had an obsession with a stock that ended up being correct. GameStop did have value that the market wasn't realizing. Was pretty loud about that, and because of the way things ended up, in retrospect, it seems like he was a major player in orchestrating it. Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of malice there, just somebody who was pretty tuned into a particular stock. There's people like that all the time. In this case, it just happened to explode. Now let's take a second to appreciate where we're at right now. As far as I know, there's no legislation in place. Melvin's still around. Hopefully some people have made some money. Some families maybe have some money that didn't have it before. But at the end of it, Bruce, what do you think? Did the peasant uprising work? Were the right people hurt in the right ways? Or like, what's the aftermath of all this?
So the aftermath, at least in January, this was the end of January, we could say that Melvin Capital lost 53% of its value in January. Now we're 3 weeks into February, and I don't know where Melvin Capital's at. I'm sure it's recovered some of its value because GameStop sort of righted the ship a little bit. But this 100% made rich billionaires that are managing hedge funds sit up and worry. Now I don't necessarily know. Again, I don't think it like took caviar out of their mouths. But yeah, I know exactly.
Monocle popping off, caviar firing out.
Exactly. But now they're a little scared. And what these people do when they're scared is they start saying, "Well, this isn't by the book. This isn't the rules. It's 100% the fucking rules." And that's what made me so upset about this. Is that Wall Street Bets and people like Roaring Kitty and lots of other investors were playing by the rules. This was not a pump and dump. This wasn't any of that stuff. They played by the rules. And if the brokerages had not been stopped by James T. Money, they would have lost everything. They would have absolutely bankrupted a billion-dollar hedge fund.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though,
bummer.
James T. Money was there.
Yep.
And is always there.
And is always there.
I don't know what it's going to take to knock that cigar out of James T. Money's mouth. That's kind of what I'm bummed about.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's definitely a sea change for the way people invest, and I think now, hopefully, we'll see some changes in regulation, and hopefully we'll see some changes in the way these brokerages work, rather than just being like, "Oh, oops, we don't have the money to cover those trades, so I guess we can't do them." Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the pace of change is a bit slow. I know that on the internet, we like to think that if something bad happens, there's a rule tomorrow to prevent it, but legislation can take years. So, But we do have some things to look forward to right away, because it's the United States. Media rights are already on the chopping block. We're already getting a book, a series, an HBO movie, a Netflix movie, and a movie from the guy that directed Console Wars.
Oh.
Also, the owner of Wall Street Bets, the subreddit, sold the movie rights to his life?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, the machine is still turning. It's healthy and strong.
Okay.
Here's an interesting question, though. What is this gonna do for old GameStop? Do you think this actually... Yeah.
Nothing. It's like...
So this...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say this is that... It is definitely brought the stock price up, which is good for GameStop, because now they have a little more value and they can leverage that if they need to, whatever, make more stores or I don't know. And also they did absolutely acquire some better executives in the beginning or the middle of January. So that's good for the company. But I don't necessarily think, unless there's a heavy pivot from GameStop in terms of a business model, I don't necessarily think that GameStop is any better than they were.
Yeah, that's a weird assumption that I had to just Google, which is essentially a company's stock price going up does not mean that company has more money.
Right.
Executives might own options or shares, and then the rise in price means that those people have more money, and then somehow that money might work its way back into the company somehow. But usually a rising stock price, it's just a grade of the market perception of a company's health going forwards.
That's right.
So if a company's stock value goes up, it indicates to people that, well, they're might be some fire behind this guy. He might grow. And then it can lead to more investment, which is money for the company. But the number going up doesn't really relate to a company's day-to-day.
That's true.
So in this case, GameStop's stock price exploding and then falling down, the question there is, does that actually change the way that the company's being run? Did it substantially change its market forecasts?
Nope.
Not really.
Nope.
Yeah, no more money for the company. If an investor thinks that this whole explosion is actually related substantially to the trajectory of the company, it might result in investment, but that's unlikely considering it's pretty obviously a one-time explosion. So
yeah. I don't know.
It's hard to say that like you said, Bruce, they do have new executives, specifically the Chewy guy.
Yeah.
I wish I knew his name.
Oh, Ryan Cohen?
Chewy Man.
Ryan Cohen?
Yeah. When he first made his investment, he did make a note basically saying like, no, we're going to have to mix up the board. And he even said at the time, me being on the board is not enough. We have to bring in new people. So they've got 3 new people. They probably are going to renovate the board even more, probably change the executive layer at GameStop. And then 2022, 2023 might see some cool stuff moving.
That's right.
But
it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like it always does. This kind of stuff always takes a while.
I think that this happening when it did, and to GameStop specifically, kind of ties into a whole generation, really. It's the place you went, and it was the place you went, and you knew the people there. They had to be there if they like games. People working there, you could chat with them.
Yeah.
It was a weird beat of validation when everyone in games thought that they needed that validation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got a weird lodge. Also, people really didn't like it. They fucked you on the like trade-in price for games and all that. So. And they would like push magazines on you. I worked there. I did that shit too. They ask you to pre-order a million things. It takes 5 minutes to check out when all you want is just one disc. Just please. They sell you used games and they got scratches all over them. New games with the case open. Like, there's a whole laundry list of reasons that people didn't like GameStop. But there's also weird protectiveness there. I think it's just it's where you cut your teeth.
Yeah.
So it's that weird mix of like it's in my past and I remember it fondly because that's where I got my games. But also it was like the man holding me down back in the day.
Sure. You can see what you're talking about, this attitude, through all the stocks that Wall Street Bets was pumping. BlackBerry was a good example. Nokia, another good example. By the way, there was another one, Express. I don't know if you remember the store Express, but that's also a publicly traded company. And I was reading again those comments on Wall Street Bets, and everyone's like, man, I wish Express was a bigger store nowadays. It's like, I wish BlackBerry was, I wish Nokia, blah, blah, blah. So that's the reason those stocks were getting pumped, is because it was a bunch of people kind of being nostalgic for these stocks. And also, like you talked about, this giant class divide where these, there's probably, 30, 40 billionaires controlling fucking so much of the world's wealth, and out here shorting these companies that they remembered and loved. And they all figured out a way, Wall Street Bets figured out a way to game that system against those people and do it with nostalgia. Done. Right? Absolutely. Let's do it. So many good reasons, I think, to really stick it to these hedge fund managers. And it was so awesome to watch. And the only thing I was worried about, because I have been a retail investor for as long as I've been doing it, the only thing I was worried about is people losing their money. I just didn't want anybody to think that when they're buying GameStop at $350 a share, that it's going to keep going up and it's going to go up forever and all this other shit that like people thought about Bitcoin back in 2017 and all that other stuff. Like, that's really scary. And so whenever I talk about investing, I always say, don't go on and like put $200,000 of your money into this right away into one stock. Don't ever do that. Put like $10 in and be like, hey, I wonder what happens or whatever. Don't assume it's going to, if it seems like a get rich quick scheme, it is a get rich quick scheme. Be careful. Please be careful. So that's the only thing I was worried about, is retail investors losing their money.
Yeah, and surely somebody had to.
Oh,
right?
They definitely did.
Yeah. Money doesn't come from nowhere.
Yeah.
So, yes, whether it was investors in Melvin or your fellow GameStonk operative in Wall Street Bets, if you were up money, that means somebody else was down.
That's right.
Which is, hopefully it was rich people money that made its way into your pocket, and hopefully your life situation improved. I think that's what people wanted. They wanted a little break. We just need a little bump from the pockets of the rich.
Yeah.
And like you said, Bruce, you eloquently summarized, It was a generation weaponizing the nostalgia of their youth to lash out against the rich, especially in a time when, yeah, class divides have been made more known than ever. And on that note, we're gonna go count all of our YouTube views and board a plane to Cancun.
Oh, we are? Right now?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I booked it for you, Bruce.
Wait, isn't Texas freezing?
Yeah, but who cares? We'll fly over it. It's only freezing on the ground. We'll be in a plane and the heater will be on. It'll be great.
All right. Do you think Ted Cruz will be on the plane? I hope he is.
I hope so. Challenge him to find us a copy of Battletoads.
Stompin' time!